What's going on, you guys, and welcome back to A Different Perspective. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button for your boy. So tonight I want to have a conversation, and yes, I'm saying tonight because currently I'm filming this video like around 11:15 p.m. It was something that was on my mind, and I want to discuss it with you all because I feel like this is going to be a very important topic, a very important conversation for us to have, and a personal one at that, because I'm gonna be sharing something with you guys that I've never shared with you all before, but I have a feeling that there might be a few of y'all that can relate. And with that being said, I want any of you that can relate to what it is that I'm about to say to comment down below. I'm really curious to see how many people it is that has been affected by the modern era and by the things that we know to be true today. So with that being said, I want to jump right into this personal bit of information that I've never shared with you all before. Now, I apologize if my setup doesn't look as centered as it usually does. I had to shift my desk over a few inches because I got new shelving for my merchandise. It's an expanded Speak Your Truth merchandise, Artofkickz.com. And right now, I'm about to do just that. I'm about to speak my truth. So I was just sitting in the living room and I was thinking about something that has been on my mind for years now, probably 5+ years. And that is the fact that I think that I am incapable of falling in love or being in love with anyone. Not to say that I'm not capable of loving someone. That's not the case at all. It's a difference when you're talking being in love and loving someone. I don't feel as though that I'm capable of being in love or falling in love with anyone. Why is that? I think I have an understanding of why that is. Partially, I believe is because of the fact that it's not something that I've been able to express or experience up to this point in my life. I will be 34 years old. What's the day? Wednesday? Tuesday? Wednesday when you're watching this video. I'll be 34 years old on Sunday. And up to this point in my life, I have yet to experience being in love with someone. And as a kid, it was something that I wanted. It was almost like the most important thing on my list of things that I wanted. If you could have asked me in kindergarten at 5 years old, what do you want when you get older? I probably would have told you white picket fence, wife, and kids, and whatever job I needed in order to sustain our lives, right? And that was something that I wanted for the longest. As a child, coming into my teen years, coming into my early adulthood, that was something that I really, really wanted for myself. But there was a shift. I don't know exactly where. I can only pinpoint it being around my late 20s where I felt as though I was no longer capable of being in love with someone. And there's multiple factors as to why that is. And I want to talk about one of the ones that I think a lot of us men in particular can relate to, and that is the modern era and what it has done to the development of young men, right? So I was born in the perfect time to experience all the good and the bad from the modern society. The perfect time. I was born in 1987. October 31st, 1987. So I got to live and experience all these different changes within our society as our society was molding into what it is today. TVs, movies, the internet, technology, all this stuff was becoming more and more advanced as I was maturing from a teen to a young adult. Now that was what was going on in society. I had the outer influences that were influencing my life and my way of thinking, and then there was what was going on at home. I was raised by a modern woman. It said that the modern woman, they first came about, or they were probably born in the mid 60s, I believe it is. My mother was born in 64, right? So I was raised by a modern woman, and I didn't have a father figure in the household or a male role model whatsoever, right? Makes sense. I'm raised by a modern woman. You know how the modern women do, how they are, how they be, how they think. They think they can do it by themselves. They're so independent, right? Because of what it is that we know, see, and hear from the modern society, As a young man, a lot of us are made to think, feel, and believe that we're undeserving of love if we don't already have our finances in order. And that's not something that you're only seeing today that's being pushed on people. I had that pushed on me from a young child. And it's one of the things that disturbed me the most when I hear it. And even in this sector of YouTube, you're starting to see more content creators adapt to that. And I disagree with it. I've disagreed with it from the beginning. And that is the thought that a man should wait until he has his finances in order before he starts to try to date. I've always disagreed with that. And let me explain why. Because I'm prime example of what will happen if a man decides to wait to date before he gets his finances in order. So, society pushed that on me all of my life. So, I always felt as though I was unworthy, undeserving of love, as if love was a dollar amount. When they say things like, you should wait until you have your finances in order before you start dating, that makes it seem as though you're only deserving of love if you got your shit together. And the main reason why I disagree with it is because of the development of the individual that is consuming that bit of information. Let me give you an example, because I am that example. So here I am being told that my entire life, but what they're not telling me is how to get my finances in order. At what age should I have my finances in order? If we're saying that, most guys don't really have it together until they're 30 years old or in their mid to late 30s, then it's almost like telling those same guys, hey, look, don't be out here dealing with women whatsoever until you're in your 30s. You know what I'm saying? And then, so what will happen? You might end up like me. It took till I was 30 years old before my finances started to get together and before I felt comfortable enough to put myself out there, because society had been telling me for so long that I was undeserving because I didn't have my shit together. So I refrained from dating because I felt like I wasn't worthy. I felt like no one or no woman would want me. And partially that's because my mother was also kind of instilling that same thing in me by the words that she said and by the actions that she took. She would say things like, man, if a man can't give me no money, he can't do nothing for me. And then on top of that, I was seeing her use men for their money. And I'm over here thinking that my mother was such a great person. And if I were to acquire anyone, I would think it would at least be someone similar to my mother or on her level, right? So here I am feeling completely undeserving of love if I feel as though I wouldn't even be enough of a man to acquire someone like my mother, right? My mother was a modern woman. Remember that. So here I am. I'm in my 30s. I built a successful 8-figure business. I just checked my credit score yesterday. It's about to hit 800. I got a nice home. I got everything going for myself that I could possibly need for me and for what it is that these women say that they like and want. But none of this can buy that love that I once wanted. None of this can buy that love that, more importantly, I feel I was once capable of having or expressing, because I didn't express that love when it was so strong, right? And I'm not sad about it. I'm just confused a bit because it's not something that I could have prepared myself for. It's not something that I knew was going to happen. I didn't know it was going to happen like this. That burning desire that I once had in me, I never knew that flame was going to burn out. You know what I'm saying? I never knew that. And maybe it hasn't completely. Maybe if the right woman comes along, then I will feel that. But I honestly believe that I won't ever. I don't see it happening. I don't get the nervousness. I don't get those nervous feelings around women no more like I did when I was younger. I don't get those butterfly feelings. I don't get those crush feelings like I did around women when I was younger. And maybe it burns out for everyone. Maybe even for those of you who had experienced and expressed it, maybe some of y'all no longer feel it yourselves. Even with that being said, you know, like the old saying go, the cliche saying go, it's better to love and lost than to have never loved at all. I'm feeling as though I missed out on a lot of loving and losing, and now I'm left with never to have loved at all. But I myself feel as though I'm incapable of being in love with someone, because that's an emotion that I had to keep dormant within me for so long, because society made me feel as though I was not worthy enough. You can almost think of it like this, right? You can almost think of it like this. Say you have a lit candle, right? Say you have a lit candle and then you put a sphere over it. A sphere that there's no air that can get in or out. And this candle dies with the quickness because it's being suffocated in this confined space. You know, a candle in an open space can stay lit. I bring up that analogy to say that that love that I had in me, that love that I was capable of giving someone, is like that lit candle that's in that confined space. It might have had a little hole in it for a while so that the candle can stay lit for 10 plus years, but over time that hole closed up because that candle wasn't able to be lit and have that flame free to expand and breathe. So now the flame is out. The flame is completely out. And I feel indifferent about that. It's a weird feeling. It's a strange feeling. And I think about other people and their experience, the average person experience, right? And I think about how they wouldn't understand where I'm coming from unless they have lived a similar life. Because see, that's why I need you guys, if any of y'all know where I'm coming from, if you have dealt with something similar to what I'm dealing with, I need y'all to comment down below, because I need to see that this has affected someone else other than me, right? And I'll be very curious to see if there's any women that has been affected in a similar way and to hear your story, because I'm pretty sure your story will be different than mine or different than the male's experience when it comes to what modern society has put on our shoulders. Because if society was telling us that we needed to wait until we got our shit together before trying to put ourselves out there romantically, then that means I would have to wait until I can afford to buy love. And because it took so long to get my shit together, that flame that once was love has burnt out. And that love that society wants me to spend my hard-earned money on, it can't be bought. So thank you, modern society, modern era, for what it is that you have done. Look, I fear as though this could and will continue to happen to others if we don't change our perspective on this entire thing, because it's not looking too good right now. The future is not looking too bright if so many of these bad ideas about what's supposed to be a genuine connection between two people, if so many of these bad ideas keep being tossed out there into the atmosphere for people to consume. All right? So with that being said, like I said, leave your thoughts, comments, and opinions down below. I want to know, male or female, if you relate in any way, please share. I'm thinking I want to have a little sit-down discussion with some of you guys on Instagram with this topic in mind, so that you all can share with us what influence the modern society has had on your personal life. So with that being said, if you like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more. As always, you can follow your boy on the gram and Twitter at Artofkickz, and I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. See ya.